All right, we are live. Welcome to our show, Get to Know Your Neighbor. I'm your host, Cameron Giesman with Giesman Homes. Each week, we showcase a local neighbor or business owner in Fishers, Indiana, and share their stories with you. Don't forget to click the like button, post an emoji, or comment below. Again, I know I've mentioned this multiple times, but we can't see if you're here unless you post an emoji. So I can kind of see a number. So it's nice to know that you're here. Just give us like a wave emoji. So tonight we are interviewing Audra Fesler. She is a local hairstylist and an avid outdoors woman. I kept saying outdoorsmen, but we are women. So outdoors women. She recently co-wrote an article for IndieWithKids.com about the 50 ways to play outdoors as part of the 1,000-hour outside initiative. I've known Audra for many years and actually bought our first pull behind camper from her. So that's where it all started. Audra is my spirit animal, as she is always finding ways to get outside with her son. I grapple with the idea of moving out into the wilderness and just getting away, but I really do love the convenience that living in a city provides. So there's that. I loved reading her article, and following her on Facebook and everything, and learn more ways to get outside and enjoy the beautiful earth that we live in. So I'm hoping that you'll also enjoy our chat and maybe learn a couple ways to explore, hoping that we can kind of talk about some ways that she uses or goes and sees areas of Fishers. So without ado, please welcome Audra Fesler. Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I am thankful for warmer weather.
Oh, yes. Thank God. Although if you're out in it, they say there's no bad weather, just bad preparation.
Oh, thanks for that. That was that like slap in the face. Like, nope. Yeah. I know.
You have to love it.
But there's a lot of preparation to like go outside in below freezing temperatures.
Yeah. Mostly mental.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Ace is 8, so it's a lot easier now. When he was little, it took time to get him ready than to get him out. That he stayed out.
Yeah.
And now he loves it. So it's much easier. It's almost like a challenge to him to get out and stay out. We camped in December in 26-degree weather in our backyard because we were so close to meeting our 1,000-hour challenge that he wanted to meet the challenge, and I had to support that because I started it.
Don't you love kids?
Yeah. Uh-huh. That was great. It was an experience. We're not doing that.
I'm sure it was. Well, we're going to jump into questions because our first question, like I mentioned to you, is always a Fishers question. So what do you love most about Fishers?
The accessibility to everything and the ability, even though we live in this town, this city, and it's obviously grown and there's very little green space anymore in the downtown area. They do provide great parks. Amazing parks. So that's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Yes, it's a city, but it's still a lot of green space-ish.
Yes. I mean, if you go look for it.
Right, which we'll talk about.
There's lots of parks, yes.
Yes. Okay, and we'll get to that. So tell us about your story, because I have to admit, hairdresser.
Yeah.
Outdoorsy.
Yeah, I know.
So how did you come about kind of loving the outdoors?
Well, I grew up out in the country. So I was outside when I was a kid. And then I kind of lost it in my 20s. I was busy, obviously, doing 20-something things. And then I met Ace's dad, and we were camping, and I remember the first time we went camping, I was like, oh my gosh, it was like I remembered how amazing it was. Asa was born and we enrolled him in this Nature's Point preschool, and it was a lot of outdoor play, bringing outdoors inside, playing with rocks, pine cones, all those things. And it just made sense. And I realized he wanted to go outside. And when they're little, it's easier to let the world entertain them than me. So it just
That is hard.
kept rolling. And it's just, you feel so much better when you're outside.
I agree with that. It is hard. I saw because I'm getting into this whole TikTok, or as my kids like to call it, Walmart TikTok, because it's reels, it's Instagram.
Oh, yeah, yes. I see.
So
I haven't dived into that because I'm afraid I would never come out.
I don't come out very often. So there was this gal that did TikTok, whatever, reel, and it was, her mom was yelling at her to tell her kids to go outside, and she's like, I'm not trying to punish my kid, like that punishes me. If I send him outside, then I have to pay attention to it. So it's hilarious. But there is that.
You?
No,
that's not
there are moments of that. Yes. Oh, for sure. Moments where I'm like, it was mostly when they were really little, because now I'll send them outside. I don't care. They'll play outside. I don't have to watch them. I don't have to entertain them outside. Right. But when they're young, you kind of have to like be there so that they don't.
When you have a job and, you have to do things, like it's hard to be outside. And that's partly why being a hairstylist, it worked, because I don't have a normal schedule.
Right. Hi, Asa.
You come in. You want to say hi?
Hi. You're the outdoorsman.
He tells me now he wants to be a survivalist.
Okay. That's perfect.
Yeah. Just take me with you.
Yeah. The conversation at dinner tonight was, if you were taken to a stranded island or something, and you could only they started with 3 things, but in their class, they could have 10 things. I'm curious. I want to ask Asa this. What are the 3 things that you would take if you only could have 3 things, Asa?
I'd probably take a knife to cut wood for a little shelter, water, and food.
Yes. So good. And that's why you will survive, and I might not. Okay, so tell us what the 1,000-hour outdoor initiative is.
I found it, honestly, on Facebook. A little chart came with it. I thought, we can try this. Let's try it. And it started a gal in Michigan named Jenny, what's her last name? Urick started the whole initiative. And it just spread like wildfire. I mean, there's a Facebook page, and there are people all over the world that do this, and they all post pictures, and you can see children in their it's not only a raincoat, it's like a snowsuit, but for rain. I mean, people go out in all types of weather. It's very, very inspiring.
We're apparently not part of the group.
On an average, kids spend at least about 1,200 hours on screens a year. And don't get me wrong, my kid loves video games and a lot. But if we can balance it out, my conscience feels so much better. He's better. And it's just even keeled. So, and the whole idea is, 1,000 hours is a great goal, but it's a goal. It just gives you a consciously deciding to go outside. Instead of eating dinner inside, eat dinner outside. And, take the dog for a walk in the morning instead of waiting until the evening. Do it twice. We walk to school every day if we can, if it's not freezing. we only live a half a mile from the school.
Like, you walk to school? That's what we did when we were young, like when we were young.
Yeah, we walk to school. Well, actually, lately Ace has been riding his bike and I ride at home, if you can only imagine that visual.
That is awesome. I
Yeah.
now need video.
Yeah. So we just try to think. I mean, he has a trampoline. He'll go outside and jump on it. Sometimes we do books before bed outside. It doesn't have to be hours and hours and hours every day. It's just little bits here and there. And they're nice. I want to come inside and he doesn't want to. And I'm like, well, I started this. I have to support it.
Right.
So
you started it. So you did it last year.
we did it last year, and we started it, and it seemed like a huge undertaking.
1,000 hours is a lot.
It's an average of 3 hours a day. And since we camp, it's helpful, but 3 hours a day is a lot. But we did it. But we did it by the skin of our teeth. We got our last hour in New Year's Eve.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we did it. We did it.
So what made you want to even take part in it? And then you wrote an article about it. Like, that's not just dipping your toe in it. That's like doing it.
Yeah. Well, you know how it feels to reach a goal, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's like the best feeling in the world. And then it's like, well, I want to do it again. And he wanted to do it again. I told him in about November, I said, Ace, I don't know if we're going to make it. And he was like, what? We're making it. And I was like, oh yeah. Okay. We're making it. Don't move me. So, and then things you plan with your family, you plan so much more outdoor things. We have seen such cool things that I never would have even dreamed about seeing or knowing about, because I tend to follow things on Facebook that are nature based. So I follow all the state parks. I follow all their programming. And when you like those things, other things pop up on your,
right.
Everybody's listening.
Right.
I mean, so, and then the whole, a lot of my friends kept telling me, you need to make a list of all these things you do. And so I thought, well, why don't I just start a Facebook page? Why not? It'll be a place for me to have memories with him. And if you don't want to read it, don't read it, type thing. And I reached out to Indie with Kids to see if I could partner with them. And that's where the article came from. And another gal that does the 1,000-hour initiative had proposed the idea to Indie with Kids before me. So we paired up together.
Gotcha.
And that was fun. I take for granted that this is like an easy thing for people to do, or a thing people do. And I've been told it isn't. And I want every other family to realize how fulfilling it can be to be outside and spend time with your kids. And it doesn't even have to be a plan. Some of our best days, we pick one place to go. Like, let's say we pick to go to a state park 2 hours away. Well, on the way, there might be a sign that says, stop by this, there's a waterfall. So we'll stop by there. And then we'll drive back through these little towns and we'll stop and get lunch at some little diner. Like, they're the best days ever. And there's really no plan. It's just going and getting out and not having a plan.
That, I feel like it's hard. I am even struggling in my brain right now to process the fact of not having a plan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do have a plan. You have a plan to get to the destination. And then from there on, you just follow the road. You literally follow the road where it takes you. Now, granted, I have one child.
Right.
So,
here's the thing. I love the idea. And when I have done it, you are 100% correct. It's one of the best times when you just let it be and you just go and you don't care. And like this summer, it was funny. Was it this summer? Yeah, it was this summer when we hadn't seen our cousins in a long time. And Adam and his brother were gone. And so she and I just took the kids and we're like, let's meet at Flat Fork. And I had never really been in there or in the creek or whatever. And I didn't have anything planned that day because I just had done it. And so we just went. Well, the kids ended up getting in the water and going creek stomping and like doing all this stuff. And I laughed so hard. But to do that on average 3 hours a day.
Well, no, you count recess, you count the walk to school, you count the outside, you count every little thing you can count. You sleep out in the backyard and count it, all the hours. You count everything. And you get prepared. I have extra clothes for him and I in the car in the summer at all times.
Like if we just sit down, it would count. If we just sat down outside.
I told him he can go read a book outside.
Or just sit down, dude.
Or just sit there. Just go.
So what happens if Asa goes out and spends like 2 or 3 hours outside and you didn't go? You have to make up that time.
No, I just count his hours.
Oh, okay.
I can't. Like when he's with his dad, like we count those hours. When he's with grandma, we count those hours.
Okay.
It's about, I mean, come on. It's all about Asa, right? You know, whatever. That's what we count.
Right. That is hilarious. Okay. So tell us about what is your favorite activity to do outdoors? Like, because there's lots of activities you could do, but what is like Audra and Asa's favorite thing to do?
What do you think?
I love waterfall chasing. As cliche as that sounds, there's just something about finding, and there's more in Indiana than you would think of.
I was just going to ask that, like in Indiana?
Yeah, there's I'll find over. I'll link there's a map of Indiana that has waterfalls. And they're huge, but
have you been to all of them?
No, that's on our list. That's another thing. I have a list on my notes in my phone of places. There's probably 50 places on my list. And they might just be little nature preserves. But like, who cares? Just go. And you might get ice cream on. That's another thing. After we hike, we always get ice cream.
Oh, that's an excuse to go on a hike, Asa.
Yep.
He's like, Mom, we need to go on a hike. It's been a few days. That's what my kids would say.
To see the ice.
And you guys bought our camper. So now we tent camp. That's a whole different world, let me tell you.
No. Nope. I've done it. I would do it again. It's funny. We don't have a camper right now. We wish we wouldn't have sold yours. That was a poor decision on our part. Those things that you do in life that you go, why did we do that?
Yeah.
That was one of them. I still to this day love that camper and I miss it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's so much work. People don't realize how much work it is, even when you have a camper like that. I mean, you can't just leave things in there. It all smells like fire and smoke, and you can't. But it's once you get it all set up, there's nothing more relaxing. And tent camping tent camping forces you to be outside even more.
Yeah.
Fires.
I just don't do tent camping because of my back, but I agree with you. Well, no, even on an air mattress.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't do well on those. Anyway, so I loved it because you are right. Whenever we went out and we camped and did that and then got home, like I just had good weeks. Like I felt better, like our kids were better. And so we try to do this at home some, but it's like, I'm okay with you being bored because when you're bored, you start to use your brain and then you start to do stuff and you go outside, you know what I mean? Like you're active. And so that's what I loved about camping is because, well, one, we didn't allow any electronics when we camped unless it was pouring down rain and there was literally nothing else to do. We would allow electronics, but we didn't allow electronics. And so we forced them to like have to do stuff. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I was going to use my iPad for this and my phone wasn't properly charged.
Oh.
So I had to move. Sorry, that was probably not very good.
No, that's right. Okay, so go ahead.
It's just, I agree. Like there's sometimes I'm like, Asa, you have to be done with whatever you're doing. And he just has to go figure it out and he'll go outside. Because it's become a habit.
Well, and that's what's good is when it becomes a habit, you know? Okay. So is there ever a time or temperature that keeps you indoors?
Like on Saturday.
So why?
And if so, what and why? The freezing rain.
Ooh.
And the wind.
Wind. So it can be warm, but wind no good.
Well, no, it could be. Well, I mean, if it's real windy, it's just stuff blows in your eyes. And
right? Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of wind and I'm not the cold rain.
Cold rain.
The snow is fine as long as it's not. We went to St. Louis over Valentine's Day and it was -12.
Oh, it's 16, wasn't it?
And that was way too cold. So
did you tent camp like that?
No.
I'm like, please tell me you didn't.
No. I'm just saying, like we were going to go to the zoo and go see the arch. And
we did go see the arch.
We went and saw the arch, but it was like, look, kids, Big Ben, run back in.
For 5 minutes and we were
freezing. So those are the two things that'll keep us inside.
Okay. Good to know. Okay. So what is your favorite thing to do? I don't have this as a question on here, but let's talk about fishers. Like what is there to do for anybody that's kind of new to the area or heck, anybody who's lived here for a long time and actually doesn't know because there's plenty of those. What would you say there is to do in Fishers?
All the parks. We love Ritchie Woods. We just visited the Agri Park for the first time.
Ooh, how was that?
Well, we did a skateboarding, the pop-up skateboarding camp, and that was neat. We signed him up for a camp there this summer. We can't wait to go back. There wasn't much happening except in the barn when we were there.
Right.
We love to go downtown Fishers, like in the grassy area with the stage. They have hammocks up, and we just like to go there and get lunch and then just sit. And they have
They have hammocks there?
Uh-huh. Yeah. And they have the sprinkler park there. Fishers does provide a lot of outdoor activities. The farmers market is fun. Yeah.
The waffles that are covered with sugar.
Yeah, the waffles that are covered with sugar.
Strawberries and blueberries.
Yes, and some fruit. Asa loves to skateboard, so he'll go skateboard. I'll walk with him. There is a lot. I mean, in Fishers we spend a lot of time in the parks.
Yeah,
and there's just plenty.
Of your 50 that you did on that indie kids, what were some of the things that you liked most about, like, what were some of the unique things on that list?
Oh gosh, Cameron. I've slept since we wrote that. I mean,
okay, everybody,
we love to go creek stomping. Creek stomping is like one of our favorite things in the world. I mean, things you don't think of. Like one of them was collect sticks or things in nature and make art with them.
And
so
right by the waterfall. That's fun.
You can bring it back home. And continue on. Another thing you can do that people don't think about is bring indoor toys outside. Bring all the crayons outside. Bring the toys outside. Bring the figurines outside. Bubbles. I love bubbles. A kid's pool with bubble bath in it. I mean, you just anything to keep him outside. I wish I could think of more we did with that, the 50 initiative. Flying a kite. There was a lot. There was a lot. And it really wasn't hard to come up with, but it's become a habit. I mean, we always think about a good habit. Yes. We always think about reasons to get outside. And Asa now pushes me as much as I probably push him.
When it's late.
And kids love to be outside when it's dark. Oh. So anything after dark is cooler than in the daylight. Oh. Our kids are always like, I need a flashlight. Okay, get a flashlight. Yeah, they love it. I mean, go play. I think the twins right now are playing basketball outside in the dark. Yeah. It's hard to build basketball skills that way. I bet you guys are outside. I bet your kids are outside more than you realize. I have to, because with everything, with COVID and everything, it got complacent to be on devices because that's the only way they saw their friends. Yes. And so I think that's why I think this initiative is so important right now, is because I think that we have been all cooped up, right? And we've all been on our devices. And although it has its uses, it's good to get outside. Like, we need to reset. I mean, we all need to reset. And there are things, there are apps that you can download. There's one called Seek. It's fun. Okay. You can take pictures of things you find in nature, and it tells you what it is. So we have integrated some of those things.
Seek doesn't work as paw prints.
Yeah. But yeah, we all need to reset. I mean, we've all been inside, and I feel like that once that becomes a habit, it's really hard to get out of. But it's about to be really nice weather. I mean, on my AA Adventures page, we have been trying to get together community hikes at least once a month. Oh. So just trying to encourage, we like to have friends around and new friends and people we don't know. And if I can encourage one family to get outside and enjoy something in nature they never have done before, I mean, for the most part, it's free. Yeah. I mean, it's not expensive. But it's so meaningful for these kids. Yeah. I don't disagree with you. And I'm glad that you're posting, because if people follow you on your page, which I can go to that real quick, the AA Adventures on Facebook, it's such a good way because you post like different events that are going on. Yeah, if I see something that I'm interested in, I try to share it on that page, because we went to an Eagles weekend at Turkey Run State Park, and a gal that had liked my page, I didn't know who she was. She messaged me and said how much they enjoyed it that they went. And that's why I want to do it. That's why I want to share. Yeah. And it is memories, but it does help people like me that are like, what do we have to do? Oh, go to your page and see what there is this weekend. Like, I hope I can share some things or some ideas, crafts. Outdoor crafts are fun.
Yeah. Like making stuff out of wood. Yeah.
Wood. We have some of our best times have been just making a fire in the backyard.
Oh, that's fun.
It doesn't, take Who doesn't like making fires? I know. Little pyromaniacs, all of us. Burn! I know. It's one of my favorite things. Well, what is something that not many people know about Audra? Oh, Cameron. I know. It's loaded. I'm an open book, really. I mean, I'm sure you could talk to some people and they could tell you things you don't know. I don't know. gosh.
You
That's
know,
a
it's
good
a loaded question.
That is. What don't you know about me? I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like there's a lot. How many tattoos do you have?
Huh? What?
How many tattoos do you have?
Oh, I have 3. And my very first one I got in my brother's tanning bed at his house when I was 18.
Oh my God. Okay, that's something. I like the one on your shoulder because it's.
This is
My birthmark.
This is Ace's birth flower.
Oh.
And
There's a birth
Quattrell
flower?
is on my arm, and it means a woman that lives simply with adventure.
That's something somebody doesn't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I really, 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 as much as I love being outside, I still really, really, really like to sleep.
That's where you sleep outside.
I love bears. I've got a new obsession with bears lately because we saw a bear in Tennessee. So that was fun.
Nice. Nice.
So there probably is a lot you don't know. I don't know how interesting it is.
I love the story behind your tattoo. I think that that's a good one because I didn't know that. And and especially because it also does connect your outdoors. Because again, when I met you, you weren't specifically outdoorsy that I knew of, but like, I love that you're again, sharing it and providing it to other people and even taking on 1,000 hours. I don't think I processed 1,000 hours is like 3 hours a day.
I know when you start thinking about it that way, you're like,
I don't
it's a lot.
That's a lot.
But there are some days we don't go outside at all, but then we make up for it when we're at the pool and then you come home and do that.
Days that I don't go outside.
Us too. You just make up for it.
Right. No. And I think it's a good challenge.
If you don't make the 1,000 hours,
right.
The 100 you were outside were amazing.
Right.
You just have to start somewhere. It's just a way to keep you accountable to it.
Yeah. I love that.
Get your kids involved and find different ways to be outside. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be far.
Right. And so you mentioned, at least when we were talking, that there is ways that you can track it. Is there like an app as well as like
I think there is an app because I've watched people talk about it on Facebook. I'm a pencil and paper girl, and so I don't even look at that. But the trackers are fun. They're colorful. I've seen people blow them up so they're like a wall size.
Oh.
And that's fun. And, the kids color the dots in and.
Yeah.
And this website you have pulled up too, there's a blog area where they talk about, like, one is, for instance, 25 things to do outside in Orlando, Florida. So it's a good resource.
Oh.
They have crafts, outdoor crafts that you can find, and it's just a good community. I mean, and yes, it's a Facebook community, but I have found a lot of people on that page that live in Fishers.
One of the girls that is in my book club, she is doing this challenge as well.
I think it's just a really neat thing, and any family could benefit from it. Adults, you could be an adult without kids and do it. Kids just push us to be better, I think, though. And
they do. They just have their way with themselves, don't they? Mm-hmm. They just do that. Well, Audra, I love that you wrote that article. I'm so glad that you came on our little show.
Thank you.
And kind of talked about, why getting out is important and, just spending, I think even like you said, spending time and making memories.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
It is. It is. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your wise wisdom. For anybody that's still watching, We are interviewing a guest next week. Her name's Carrie Phelps. She's owner of Dragonfly Salon. So that'll be kind of fun to talk with her. She's got a fairly big place, I feel like. That is next Thursday, April 1st at 7:30. So hopefully you'll be able to tune in. Audra, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And I can't wait to see what else you post because I do follow you. I didn't know about AA Adventures. So if anybody that's interested, follow her on AA Adventures on Facebook.
Your family will have to meet us out for a hike one Sunday when we do it.
Yes, we will do that.
Okay. I'll see
Aim
you
on.
there.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody,
Thank you.
for watching. And you guys all have a great Thursday. I almost said
Thank you.
Saturday. Thursday. Oh, my gosh. That's
Right.
crazy.